Elijah, the prophet of fire and faith, stands as one of the most compelling figures in the Bible. His life was marked by extraordinary miracles, fierce confrontations, and deep spiritual devotion. But beyond the drama and the wonders, there lies a profound secret, one that every believer should grasp. What is it that made Elijah's walk with God so powerful, so effective? Today, we uncover the secret of Elijah that every believer should know. Elijah first appears in the Bible during a time of great turmoil in Israel. The nation was divided, and the people had turned away from God, worshiping Baal under the corrupt leadership of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Elijah's introduction is sudden. Without a background or lineage, he steps onto the stage of history like a bolt of lightning. Now Elijah the Tishbite, from Tishbe in Gilead, said to Ahab, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except at my word." Elijah's name means "My God is Yahweh," and from the very start, he stood as a bold, unyielding prophet of the living God. His declaration of a drought was a direct challenge to Baal, the so-called god of fertility and rain. What was the secret of Elijah's power? Was it in his boldness, his miracles, or his confrontations with kings and false prophets? No. Elijah's secret was his relationship with God, a relationship marked by unwavering faith and persistent prayer. James 5 verses 17 to 18 tells us that Elijah was a human being, even as we are. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. Again he prayed, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its crops. At every critical moment, Elijah turned to God in prayer. His strength did not come from himself, but from his deep reliance on God. His prayers were not just requests, they were the result of his intimate communion with God. The showdown at Mount Carmel is perhaps Elijah's most famous moment. Surrounded by 450 prophets of Baal, Elijah stood alone for God. The challenge was simple: let the true God answer by fire. Elijah's challenge to the people was clear: how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him, but if Baal is God, follow him. The people said nothing. Then Elijah proposed the test: 2 bulls, 2 altars, and the God who answers by fire is the true God. After hours of futile cries from the prophets of Baal, it was Elijah's turn. He prayed a simple prayer, asking God to show his power and turn the hearts of the people back to him. Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, he is God! The Lord, he is God!" But Elijah was not invincible. After his victory on Mount Carmel, he faced deep despair. Jezebel's threat on his life drove him to flee into the wilderness, where he asked God to take his life. Elijah was a man just like us, prone to fear, exhaustion, and doubt. He reached a point where he felt utterly alone and defeated. But God did not abandon Elijah in his weakness. Instead, he provided for him, strengthened him, and spoke to him, not in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but in a gentle whisper. God's gentle whisper reminded Elijah that he was not alone. There were still 7,000 in Israel who had not bowed to Baal. Elijah's journey was not over, and neither was God's work in him. Elijah's story culminates not in death, but in a dramatic ascension to heaven. As he walked with his disciple Elisha, a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and took Elijah up to heaven in a whirlwind. As they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elijah's mantle passed to Elisha, symbolizing the continuation of God's work. His legacy did not end with his ascension but carried on through his disciple and the generations that followed. So, what is the secret of Elijah that every believer should know? It's not about the miracles or the dramatic encounters, though these are significant. The secret lies in a life fully surrendered to God, marked by fervent prayer, unwavering faith, and a deep reliance on God's presence. Elijah's life teaches us that the power of a believer does not come from our own abilities, but from our connection with God. When we walk closely with Him, trust in His timing, and persist in prayer, we too can experience the miraculous in our lives. Elijah's life was one of remarkable faith, perseverance, and divine power. But the true secret wasn't in the miracles he performed or the enemies he defeated. It was in his intimate relationship with God, his unshakable trust in God's promises, and his commitment to prayer. This is the secret that lies at the heart of every believer's journey. As we walk in the footsteps of Elijah, let us remember that the same God who empowered him is with us today. His power is available to those who seek Him with all their hearts, who trust in His word, and who stand firm in their faith. The secret of Elijah is the secret of a life wholly devoted to God, a secret that every believer can embrace. May we, like Elijah, live in the fullness of God's power, trusting in His presence, and walking in the path He has set before us.